folks. Good evening. This is Rule of Law Radio's Monday Night Traffic Show. I am your host, Eddie Craig. It is May 20th, 2013. Now, what I'd like to start the show off with tonight is I'm getting a lot of emails from folks regarding red light camera tickets and speeding camera tickets and things of that nature. And there are several things about these that people don't seem to understand as far as what they are, how they violate your rights, what rights you have to not participate in whatever proceeding they want to make of these things, and so on and so forth. So what I've done is I've made up a letter that you can send in response to one of these mailed citations, and you can use it for virtually anything that is based upon an automated accusation process that has no, how you would say, secondary fact witness of a human nature. In other words, no actual live person saw the act allegedly committed or documented by this electronic process. So we're not going to accept it as being a viable accusation. And what this letter does is it lines it all out for you in a document that you can send in response to these electronic citations. And it isn't going to matter what state you're in, state of infancy, state of infertility, whatever. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. Whatever one of the actual states of the union you're in, it won't matter. Your rights are the same no matter where you are located. Your right of due process is the same no matter where you are located. And that being said, what I want to do is run through a couple of the things that this deals with specifically and go from there. Now, after the show is done tonight, I am going to post this as a link on the logosradionetwork.com/TAO info page, along with the traffic scripts and things that are there as well. We're going to put this up. This will be another free document that you can get that shows you how your rights are being manipulated by these processes and how to deal with them. Now, that being said, no, it's not up there right now. So don't go running to the link or to the page to look for the link. It's not up yet. But I will get it done as soon as we get done with the show this evening, which is 10 p.m. my time. Okay, that being said, I'm going to go through it. I'm basically going to read the letter to you so you will see what the other party will see when you send it in. Now, it's titled Respondent Special Appearance and Demand Letter. To whom it may concern. On or about whatever date, I received a letter via the United States Postal Service claiming to be a citation and stating that, either by direct action or reason of ownership, I had allegedly committed some violation of a whatever kind of ticket. It can be red light camera, speed camera, whatever. In this case, I'm using it as a red light camera ticket. Violation of a red light camera enforcement law within whatever location, in this case we'll just use City of Austin, Texas, on the alleged date of and whatever date the citation alleges the act was perpetrated. As per the instructions therein, I am writing to inform you of several points regarding my consent and participation in any matter relating to this allegation and to make specific reservation of all my fundamentally protected rights at all times and for all purposes, waiving none ever. 1. I do not consent to any form of non-judicial decision-making in any type of matter where I am to be punished in or by any method or manner, including but not limited to any type of assessments, fines, or fees. I do not consent to nor accept the application of any statutory or administrative punishment of any kind that could or would constitute a bill of attainder or bill of pains and penalties, which have been outlawed by every constitution in every republic of the Union, and which citations such as these surely are. 3. I will not enter a plea to, consent to, or participate in any case or matter where such acts would tend to serve as a waiver of any of my fundamentally protected rights, including but not limited to A, my right to have proper notice of the charges being made against me, by service of a valid written, sworn, and verified complaint and a proper charging instrument signed and filed by the appropriate state officer in their official capacity. B, my right to remain silent and or to assistance of counsel. C, my right to have the facts of the charge heard by a jury of my peers in the first instance of presentation of evidence and testimony, not only upon appeal, if ever at all. D, my right to be presumed innocent and proven guilty in a court of law by a jury of my peers. E, my right to have the accuser bear the burden of proof rather than having it reversed so that it is upon me, the accused, to prove my innocence. F, my right to face my accuser in open court and examine into the facts of the allegations made by said accuser. G, my right to not be punished unless and until I am actually convicted by a jury of my peers based upon factual evidence that I actually committed or participated in the alleged offense, and not simply by the fact that I happen to own property that was allegedly used to commit the alleged offense. Although this option to challenge the citation is said to result in this matter going to court, it is my suggestion that the charges simply be dropped. This suggestion comes out of respect for taxpayers and my request that their hard-earned money not be wasted in such proceedings. Furthermore, how do you intend to provide me with a fair and impartial trial? How would it be possible to conduct either direct or cross-examination when the only witness is an inanimate object whose facts and testimony are completely subject to the interpretations and conclusions of multiple third parties, all of whom have a vested financial interest in the way the facts and testimony are construed, especially when that financial interest is entirely dependent on a guilty verdict? As there is no actual evidence of my direct or knowing involvement or participation in this alleged crime, or whatever nature or type of offense or violation you claim that it may be, as well as the fact that I am to be denied in my Fourth Amendment right to face my accuser, i.e. an inanimate object construed to be a type of camera, I can see no way that any agency or governmental entity would factually prove me personally guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. As I do not recall if I was even present at or traveling in my car at the date and time alleged, and I do not recall whom may or may not have actually been in possession of my car on the date and time alleged, I cannot with any level of certainty make any factual statements, guesses, or presumptions regarding the matter. Therefore, I can see no legal requirement for me to falsely implicate someone else in this process, as it is the accuser's burden and responsibility to conduct an investigation, gather evidence, and prove the guilt of the accused, just as it is my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent on the matter if it in any way could or would tend to incriminate me. It is the government's decision, or if it is the government's decision, to move forward in this matter, then this letter is to be considered and construed as an open records / public information / FOIA request under all appropriate laws for copies of the following documents, records, and related information. Any and all evidence the prosecution may have in their possession, regardless of their intent to make use of such evidence, proving my direct or knowing involvement or participation in this alleged crime, or whatever nature or type of offense or violation you claim that it may be. Any and all maintenance records of the cameras involved. Any and all training and certification records relating to the installation, use, maintenance, interpretation, programming, and computational algorithms for these cameras relating to the technicians responsible for the maintenance and or generation of the citation or the camera itself. Any and all training certification records relating to the installation, use, maintenance, interpretation, programming, and computational algorithms for these cameras relating to the in-state officers that will presumably testify as to any part or portion of the contents of the aforementioned citation. And if any of this information cannot or will not be provided as requested, then I expect and demand to be notified in writing as to what information you are refusing or unwilling to provide, and the facts and law supporting your lack of such records or the denial for production as appropriate. Sincerely, signed by you. Attention, and the attachments will be whatever copy of the citation that was mailed to you. That, folks, in summary, is the actual ticket. response letter that we're going to use for these cameras. Now, in that regard, the phone lines are open. Call-in number is 512-646-1984. So give us a call if you have any questions or comments on the letter. And again, it's not going to matter what state of the union you're in. This letter is universal because it goes directly to fundamentally protected rights of the individual. Most of these camera tickets, when you look at the fact that they initially, through legislation, presume you guilty rather than innocent, they do not require judicial review in the first instance of the facts prior to assessing a punishment. That makes them, by any stretch of the imagination, a bill of pains and penalties. They're illegal. They're absolutely illegal. And yet, we're having to deal with them as if there's something that they can actually use against us, when in fact they are not. Most of these revenue generating schemes they've come up with in the forms of, you have to give us this information so we can use it against you. If you refuse to provide this information, then your refusal, even though it's based upon a protected right, will be used to charge you criminally in other ways, which is something else they cannot do. And yet, nobody out there understands the rights they have to refuse to allow this to be done to them. And folks, if and when you come to a court that says this is okay, then that is a court that needs to be not only disbanded and dissolved, but everyone in it charged with criminal conspiracy and sedition, if not outright treason. All right, folks, this is Rule of Law Radio, Monday Night Traffic Show. This is your host, Eddie Craig. Call in number 512-646-1984. Give us a call, give us a holler, give us comments, queries, or questions. We are here to help you. We'll be right back on the other side of the break, so hang in there and give us a ring. This is Rule of Law Radio. I am your host, Eddie Craig of the Monday Night Traffic Show. We don't have any callers up on the board yet, so one more time, the call-in number, 512-646-1984. I am getting a lot of Facebook traffic and a lot of emails from folks that have heard me on the 2.5-hour presentation I did on the Alex Jones Show. And I would like to thank everyone for those Facebook responses and for the emails regarding the video. It's greatly appreciated. And just so folks know, that was not rehearsed, nor was it actually edited a great deal for content. I did that 2.5-hour presentation from beginning to end, nonstop, without a script. And the only thing we did was, in a couple of places, commented when certain things got out of order, and that's the only thing that got changed in the whole process. So this is a subject that's been in my life for a long time, and I've gotten very, very intimately familiar with it. So it's not difficult to stand up and go through it in that process, even though it is sometimes hard to convey the nuances of it to people that have never heard of the subject before. And so I would really like to thank those people that said I did a good job and that I made it very understandable. My intent was to do exactly that, to do it with enough detail that people could see the issue for themselves, but not so much detail that it overwhelmed them to the entire message that was being conveyed, which in my opinion was meant to be, you're getting robbed, you're getting defrauded, you're getting illegally taxed, fined, assessed, jailed, taken advantage of in every possible way. Folks, I don't care what part of law you're stuck in. I don't care what the grand scheme of everything winds up to be. I guarantee you that if you take it at face value for all the parts of your life that it actually touches and how it propagates all of the other things that the legal system does to us, you will find that this issue right here regarding making you register yourself, your property, and your very activities with the state so that you can be taxed and tracked specifically for those activities, then you will finally be able to see how all the other areas of law are used against you, because this one is used to touch everyone's life. The other ones, you may only get a few people into the system. Through this means, you get everyone. And you get them through their own ignorance as to what's being done. And you volunteer for it even, because you don't know any better. And because the status quo says this is how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to raise the issue again, folks. We don't want to register our guns because we don't want the government to know that we own, what we own, how many we own, or anything else. Why in the world do you want it for your cars? Why in the world do you want to be able to tell them that I own this many cars, this is their make, this is their model, I have this number on it that you gave to me so that you can track it from the time I get it to the time I sell it, and then you can track the next person that buys it from me? Why would you want to do that? In case nobody's aware of it, they have all these new camera systems on these patrol cars. They can travel all around the city and from hundreds of feet away. In case you haven't noticed, all of your new license plates in the lower right-hand corner have this tiny little barcode. And all of the lettering on your license plate now has a standardized, highly OCR readable format to them. So these cameras, both via that barcode and OCR recognition, which is optical character recognition for the computer uninitiated, that thing can read your license plate from hundreds of feet away. Run the entire parking lot through a database in a matter of seconds and know every car that's there. And the presumption being that the registered owner of that car or the legal user of that car will be the person that is currently on site in relation to that car. So they know where both you and your car are, and because of the location, quite possibly what you may be doing at any given time. Well, it's in the parking lot of Walmart, so obviously they're inside shopping. It's in the strip club parking lot down the street, so obviously the husband got off work early and is doing something he doesn't want the wife to know about. Things they can use against you anytime they want. Think about that. By knowing where you are and what your marital relationship is and what your status is and so on and so forth, there are a million different ways just where you are at a given time of day can be used against you in a manner that will allow them to control what you do. It's insidious.
Privacy.
And everyone is volunteering into it. Because some idiot put a bug in their ear that, well, we have the right to regulate the use of the roads by everyone because a car is an inherently dangerous thing, and we need to convince people that they're too stupid to be able to control that car unless they have specialized training from a high school physics or math or PE teacher who's actually had a license for several years in order to be qualified to actually control that car on a highway in a manner that will prevent them from killing and harming anyone. Well, you would think by that reasoning there would never be any such thing reported as a car accident, wouldn't you? It's an illusion, people. A complete and total freaking illusion. It's meant to make you think that you, by having this license and their permission, have somehow made the world a safer, better place, when they can tell you if and when you can use your own property to conduct your own private business or pleasure by traveling from here to there to do your shopping, to see your doctor, to go to the library, to go to the swimming pool, to go on vacation, to go out to the lake, or basically just take a ride because you want to get your fat butt out of the house for a while. And yet, people will defend this system as if it has some valid reason for its existence, when in fact, in reality, it does not. It's a revenue generator. It's a control mechanism. Nothing more. And you keep volunteering into it. And then complaining that you volunteered into it. Oh, the registration fee for my car is so high. It used to be $17. Now it's $70. Why do they keep raising the price? Because you idiots keep paying it. And I'm not trying to make a personal slam against everybody listening when I say you idiots. I'm just talking in general. You do these things because you're just told us by someone that you had to, and you accepted it at face value. Now, where I come from, that kind of gullibility would get you into some serious situations at the drop of a hat. So, when someone tells me I have to do something, buddy boy, you better believe at that moment I'm not a Texan. I'm from Missouri. Prove it or go away. Okay? But as Texans, that's the motto we should have adopted a long time ago. You're telling me I have to do something just because you or somebody else says so? Not only are you going to have to prove it, but you're going to have to bring enough guns to make it happen. Well, folks, what do you think they're doing when they're pulling people over by force and 5 cops show up at one of these so-called transportation stops over somebody that won't give them a simple piece of plastic that has a particular date, a particular number, and their picture on it? We're going to kill you because you won't give us a plastic photograph of yourself. That's how stupid and bad it's gotten, people. And we are to blame. All right, Matt, I see you on the board. I'll take your call on the other side, but I had to get all that off my chest. Y'all hang in there, folks. 512-646-1984. We'll be right back after this break.